change this whole world one person, one day at a time.
Absolutely, one person at a time. And that's so important because, I think sometimes we think we need to change the world, but I think we can change the world by changing ourselves first.
Yes.
And then in changing ourselves, we in turn change other people. What I find so often is the easiest way to improve the conditions of someone else's life is to change who you are, because you can speak to people all you want to, but once you become a better person, a more loving person, more disciplined, people see the change in you.
Yes.
They admire the change in you, and they want to be like you. So sometimes when you serve as that beacon of positivity, that motivates other people. So having said that, we're going to talk about the first coping mechanism.
Okay.
And I'm going to kick things off. I'm going to talk about exercise.
Okay.
This is something that's dear to me. Okay. And Marvin too, because Marvin comes from a background of sports, much like myself, and so many young black men. We're not that young anymore, but we grew up playing sports. It's what we did. And what I found when I was young in my teenage years, I used to run. And initially I just ran because I was on the track team, West End Striders. But what I found is when I ran, it would give me this thing called, what I found out later was a runner's high. I didn't know what it was, but I know it just made me feel good. And it was years later that I found out when you indulge in cardiovascular activity, your body produces these chemicals called endorphins. Some people call them feel-good chemicals. So whenever I would feel stressed, whenever I would feel like something really heavy was riding my back, I would put on my shoes and I would hit the street and I would just run 2-3 miles, and once it was over, everything was different. I felt lighter, the stress was gone. So I learned from experience at a very young age, in my mid-teens, I would say, that cardiovascular activity was beneficial in terms of dealing with stress and coping with stress. Have you had a similar experience with that?
Oh yes, and I will start with this because it comes to my mind. I suffered with asthma as a kid, and I was very active, and then my breathing kind of went west on me, and I had to learn how to recover. Because when I got out there to run and play again, I couldn't breathe. And so I had to learn how to develop my wind, so to speak, incrementally. And so I've developed a program that works with people who are just starting to work out again, who just take little steps at a time. I have a 30, 60, and 90-day program that helps people to empower themselves to work out, to get back into it. My wife is a personal trainer, and so we work together to empower people. But it is the process that I had to go through was to start slow and to be able to develop myself to a place where I was comfortable with what I could do. And so all I did, and all I'm asking you to do, is just do what you can. Health is a very important issue right now in our communities, and we're not taking care of ourselves. We're eating just about everything we can put our hands on, just stuffing it down. I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but it's true. At this point, we're doing a lot of indulging, and we have to learn that diabetes is a killer. Heart disease is a killer, and we're doing all the things that's necessary. We just went to a funeral last week, and then the week before that with people who, and then 3 weeks ago. So we've gone to 3 funerals in maybe 3 or 4 weeks, man. And a lot of times we're dealing with issues that are curable, but it's the position that we take. And so exercise is important. Diet, along with that, I know we'll touch that later, but diet is important. Exercise, getting just a small basic routine. You don't have to go to the gym and kill it, but go and do something that you can do. Walk, for example, for 15 to 20 minutes. Just do what you can to get yourself moving. Get out, move, change, grow, get a sense of what's going on outside with nature. Smell the fresh air. The leaves are changing. I was out this morning because I go for my run every day. And the leaves are so beautiful right now.
Yes, they are.
The fresh air for me in the morning is refreshing. Looking at the blade of grass, for example, the clouds in the sky refreshes, and those are all stress reducers for me.
Absolutely. And me as well. I remember as a kid, and it's funny how, we have, as children, I think we have certain intelligences that we aren't aware of.
Absolutely.
As a child, I used to just like to walk through the woods, and it would make for a very comfortable and pleasant and calming experience. And I didn't realize just being one with nature has that effect on people. And so, yeah, I can certainly identify, you know, with you going out and looking at the leaves and the grass and the blue skies and the water. And just nature in and of itself, it's just being one with nature is a beautiful experience.
And that's not mean you have to be a flower child or anything.
That's
like
right.
That, you know, because we all have labels that we throw out there. But it is communing.
That's right.
We are nature people. You know,
absolutely.
We were born outside, and now we confined, and even our kids, they stay at home all day. You get out of school, and guess what they're doing? Click, click, click. They don't go outside and play anymore. I'm advocating to go outside, get some fresh air, get those kids out, go for a walk, get into nature, get into yourself. That's what we have to do.
Absolutely, absolutely. And do it a couple of times a week, man, if you can. You know, because, you know, Marvin and I spoke about this before, you know, so often we hear people say, well, I don't have time. But, you know, I don't want to be insulting, but sometimes, you know, we find time for things we really want to do. And we find time to watch, you know, Jersey Shore.
Jerry Springer.
Jerry Springer. And
Maury.
Basketball Wives.
Basketball.
Baseball games.
Yeah.
A lot of times these shows take an hour, sometimes sports take
football,
2 or 3.
Yeah, all Sunday.
All Sunday. So what we're just suggesting is you take 30 minutes
Yeah.
for yourself, because when you're watching these other shows, they don't benefit you. They just benefit those people that are being watched. They don't help you. But these things that we're suggesting will be beneficial to you. So be good to yourself. This is what we're saying. We don't intend to beat you up. We want to help improve your condition spiritually, mentally, and whatever, economically if we can. You know, it's all about, to borrow one of Marvin's words, it's about empowering people. And so that's what we want to do.
Let me just add this real quick. I start with a covenant. And when he talked about getting, the brother really kind of touched on it, that made me think it is getting that covenant agreement. And that's what I start with. You have to make a covenant agreement with yourself to say, these are some things that I am going to do in my life, and these are some things that I'm not going to do. And so your covenant agreement is an honorable agreement that is unbreakable with yourself, because if you can make an agreement and keep it with yourself, then you can honor everybody else on this planet.
That's right.
And so honoring yourself is very important. Making that agreement to say, I am going to work out for 30 minutes, even if that's walking. That's all you have to do. Just honor that and make a commitment, because the commitment follows the covenant. I'm making a commitment to make a change in my life today.
That's right.
And I do that through consistency. I'm working on myself every day.
That's right.
I'm being consistent and working on that change that I need to make from the inside and out. And so I'm working on developing that. And so I'm asking you tonight to make a covenant agreement. Go and look at the dictionary, right? So it won't be Marvin Roane telling you. It will be the definition of the word covenant.
That's right.
In a relationship with yourself. I'm going to begin to develop that relationship that I need with myself that becomes healthy now. And so once we develop this healthy relationship, then our mindset begin to change. And so mindset goes into thinking. And we'll talk about that later on. But you want to now begin to develop that healthy mindset where I'm going to do something for myself today, each day and every day.
That's
just
right.
one day at a time. So if you start taking one day at a time, you got it. Just do the simple things.
And Marvin, I was speaking with him the other day. We were at the coffee shop, and he has what he calls the 3 C's. Would you want to share that with the people?
The 3 C's are real easy. It's covenant, right? It's commitment, and I probably need to add a couple more in there. Consistency, change, and courage. Covenant, commitment, consistency, change, and courage. And it takes courage to change, first of all.
Yes.
But what it takes to change is consistency. Right. So I'm going backwards now. Right. Okay? And then, guess what? You need a commitment. And the commitment comes from your covenant.
That's right.
Your covenant agreement with yourself says, I am committed to changing myself today, right now, tonight, out there in listener land. Change yourself tonight. Make a commitment tonight. Call your friends, right? And say, I'm making a commitment on this day, because I got to honor my agreement with myself, because I made a covenant. I'm agreeing with myself that I'm going to change myself tonight. That's one day at a time, by making that covenant and then being consistent. Each day and every day doing something to work on changing yourself. If that's working on getting to a place where you know that you need to work out, then do that. If you know you need to back up off of some things, then you know what you need to do, because everybody knows what they need to change. Everybody knows what they need to work on.
Absolutely.
And so those are the seeds. So now they're 5. So the